Welcome to Power Tech, a podcast about the electrical components that make our world work. In today's episode, we'll be discussing EMC, EMI, and EMI filters, an essential component in power supplies. What is EMI and why is it a problem? EMI stands for Electromagnetic Interference, and it refers to the unwanted signals that are generated by electronic devices. These signals can interfere with other electronic devices and cause problems such as data loss, equipment damage, and system failures. EMI is a particular problem in power supplies because they often generate high levels of electrical noise. One of the main concerns with EMC in power supplies is that they can generate electromagnetic interference that can affect other devices and systems. This is especially true for devices that use switching power supplies, which use high-frequency switching to convert AC to DC power. To prevent this interference, power supply manufacturers must design their products to meet certain EMC requirements and standards. These standards can vary depending on the application and the location of the power supply. For example, in the United States, power supplies must comply with the Federal Communication Commission regulations, while in Europe they must comply with the European Union's EMC directive. Another important aspect of EMC compliance is testing. Power supply manufacturers must test their products to ensure they meet the required EMC standards. This can include both conducted and radiated emissions testing, as well as susceptibility testing to ensure the power supply can withstand electromagnetic interference from external sources. How do EMI filters work? EMI filters are typically placed at the input of power supplies, and they work by limiting the amount of high-frequency switching noise that is present in the incoming power. The noise can come from a variety of sources, including electrical switching devices, motors, or other electronic devices. EMI filters are designed to reduce the amount of EMI that is generated by the power supply. They work by blocking high-frequency noise and only allowing the desired signals to pass through. EMI filters typically consist of a combination of inductors and capacitors, which are arranged in a specific way to reduce the amount of noise. There are several types of EMC filters, including common mode filters, differential mode filters, and pi filters. Common mode filters work by suppressing common mode noise, which is noise that is present in both the positive and negative lines of the power supply. Differential mode filters, on the other hand, suppress differential mode noise, which is noise that is only present on only one line of the power supply. Pi filters are a combination of common mode and differential mode power filters, and they're often used in an application where both types of noise are present. EMC filters are usually specified in terms of their insertion loss, which is a measure of the amount of power that is lost as a result of the filter. The lower the insertion loss, the better the performance of the filter. In addition to insertion loss, EMC filters are also specified in terms of their common mode impedance and differential mode impedance. These parameters determine the effectiveness of the filter in suppressing common mode and differential mode noise. When selecting EMC filters for power supplies, it's important to consider the frequency range of the noise that is present in the system. For example, if the noise is primarily present in the high frequency range, then a filter with a high cutoff frequency should be selected. On the other hand, if the noise is primarily present in the low frequency range, then a filter with a low cutoff frequency should be selected. In conclusion, EMC filters are an important part of power supplies that help minimize the amount of electromagnetic interference generated by electrical devices. There are several types of EMC filters, and it's important to select the right type based on the frequency range of the noise that is present in the system. By properly designing power supplies with EMC filters, we can help to ensure that electronic devices function properly and without interference from other electronic devices. And that's it for today's episode of Power Tech. We hope you learned something new about EMI filters and their role in power supplies. Join us next time for more discussions about the electrical components that power our world. Thank you for listening.